Welcome back to Viata International Academy. It's Teacher Carl here again, and in today's lesson we're going to look at leaving messages. Now, as with many situations, you're going to find yourself in formal or informal situations when leaving messages. So we're going to have a look at how we're going to do that in both. Now, leaving messages is very important. You don't want any miscommunication, and you want the receiver of the message to fully understand what it is you're asking of them. So firstly, let's take this conversation between Jane and Peter. Jane is a very lovely lady who works at a sales department of a very well-known shopping centre. And Peter, he is the one trying to leave the message. So let's have a look how the conversation would go. So I guess they would be on the phone. Hello, sales, Jane speaking. How may I help you? Hello, can I speak to Maria Moss, please? Now this is where the first part of the interaction is going to take place. Sorry, she's not available. Now, if they are very good at their job, they're very likely to say, sorry, she's not available. Can I take a message, please? However, if they don't say that, they may just be left with, sorry, she's not available. In which case, you need to tell them that you would like to leave her a message. Hopefully, Jane is very nice and says it's no problem. Then we need to get on to what the message is that we're trying to convey to the receiver. Depending on the relationship, how well you know this person, whether it's a professional environment, is gonna depend on what question you use. So you may say something like, could you tell her Peter called? If you use this type of message, it would insinuate that she knows who Peter is and that she needs to call him back. However, if you chose to say this, could you ask her to call Peter? That would indicate that she doesn't know that she needs to call Peter, so it needs to be explained in the message. Hopefully Jane is very nice and she can say absolutely. Could I have your number, please? Now, obviously it's very important if you're asking somebody to call you back that they have your phone number. So it's good to go ahead and read the phone number. Yes, it's 01234 567 891. Now it would be a very good idea to get this to be confirmed. So just ask the Jane or whoever you're talking to just confirm that they have the right number. Now maybe you'd like to say, could you tell her it's about, I don't know, could you tell her it's about a project? Could you tell her it's about the event this weekend? Or could you tell her it's about the reports that needed doing by the end of the month? Giving this information will also leave the receiver of the message with a clearer understanding of what's required. Hopefully says no problem. And finally, you might think it's a good idea to leave your email, just in case you might be in a meeting, you might be out on a boat, or you just might not be able to take the call. And again, when leaving your email address, it's a good idea to get confirmation from the listener that they have the details correct. So let's have a look at an informal situation when trying to leave messages. Now Jane has finished work for the day, she's gone home and she would like to speak to her boyfriend David, who still lives with his mum. So she picks up the phone and calls the number. Hi, can I speak to David please? Unfortunately, it's David's mum that answers the phone. So she's going to say, oh, I'm sorry, he's not here. Who's calling? It's Jane. Now it's very likely that David's mum knows Jane very well. They have been in a relationship for 3 years, so she's going to reply, oh, hi Jane. Now, usually the conversation could develop here. If you know each other, she may ask how you've been, what you've done at the weekend, or any other trivial information you might know. Once that's through, you will then get on to the stage of asking her to take the message. Now, if the message is not really important, we may say something like this. Could you take a message for me? Sure, what is it? Can you tell him? So we may then proceed to give the information. So we'll probably be specific. Could you tell him that his new music CDs have arrived in the post? Or could you tell him that next week we are going on the planned trip that we spoke about? So you may just want to fill in the listener with the exact information that you wish to give the receiver of the message. In this case, it's David. However, there are situations when getting hold of somebody is very important and we need to convey the importance of them getting the message and either contacting us back or calling us, whichever we desire. So maybe we could say something like this. Could you tell him? Now, if it's not really very important, but you don't want to give the information to the listener, you could quite simply say, could you tell him to call me back, please? This incites something that's not very important, but just give him the message to call me back because there's something I need to tell him. Maybe, if it's a bit more important, could you tell him to call me as soon as possible? So as soon as he receives the message, you would like him to call you. Or if it's more serious, we're going to say, could you ask him to call me? It's urgent. And if it's very, very serious, very important, you might combine all three of these together and say, could you tell him to call me back as soon as possible? It's urgent. That would really convey to the listener that the message is important, that it gets to the receiver, and you can be sure that they will deliver it with excellent efficiency. However, maybe there's just not a problem at all, and you may just say something like, could you tell him to just call me when he's free? It's nothing important. So there we go. We've had a look at some key phrases and some vocabulary that you're going to need if you like to leave messages for people on the phone, or maybe through emails, or maybe if you're just talking face to face with someone. If you have any comments, leave it in the section below. I would love to read them, and I look forward to seeing you in the next class.